Alright, welcome to a new anime review series. This is the hidden dungeon only I can enter. Yes, I'm talking about this series. A series actually started just this year. We're like, really? A series that started this year? Wow. Like, wait, have you done it before? A couple other series? Yes, but not for bench watching. Not necessarily, no. You see, this series started back in January. And actually, in Japan, this has actually been over for about a month, I'd say. Yep. Now, this is a fantasy series. Now, here's basically the characters here. Now, a couple of these characters don't appear in this episode, the first three. This one I'm discussing the first three episodes. Now, this girl right here, I'm about to show these pictures of some of the cast of the series. This here, that is Noir. He is the star of the series. He is voiced by, the guy who voices him, if you're familiar with the current season of Attack on Titan, he's the one who voiced the character who's black. By the way, his actor is black, too. Yeah, it's interesting, though, the fact the actor's black and voicing a white guy. Yeah, it's not really much of an issue with me. Not really, no. In the case of some of the other ones. Now, this woman with the black hair in the back, that's actually Noir's sister, Alice. And her voice actor is, I kid you not, she is the voice of a couple of familiar faces here. Her voice actor is also known for voicing Ram from ReZero. Yep. The voice of one from ReZero. Yep. Ryan Bartley. Yep. Voicing Ram. Yep. Aside voicing Ram, which he does in pretty much the entire series, yeah, I definitely say the whole thing. Like, every episode you have the same actress, which is quite nice. Aside from this series, I mean, it's Crunchyroll. So, of course, like in the case of Viz Media and Funimation, they would constantly use voice actors. Aside from this series, she's basically also been in, Isekai Quartet, obviously. She was in Konosuba, the film Konosuba, was Kamatsu. She also voiced... She's also in Monster Go Doctor. Yep, she was in that series. She's Tokichio. She's the voice of... She's in Princess Half Demon. She voices... I believe it's the little raccoon dog. Raccoon Demon. Yeah. Voices that little guy. And that's it for her. Yep. And that's the one who voices Alice. Now, in the case of the guy who voices the lead character of the series, Zeno Robinson, those of you fans of My Hero Academia will definitely recognize the guy as the voice of Hawks. Yes, Hawks' voice actor works in the series. Yep. We're thinking, wow, that's interesting. He's My Hero. Which, yes, that is awesome. Let's see. He's also Ogon from Fire Force. Yep, he pretty much voices Ogon the whole series. Yeah, he's also in ReZero as well, so we got ReZero kind of reunion here, where in case you're curious, he voices Garfield. Yes, basically the half human, half beast man. Who becomes, Subaru's best friend in the series, and voices Akamton from Attack on Titan. Now, in the case of... Now, there's also a character named Olivia. She's not here in this picture. She is a woman who is trapped in a dungeon. Well, dungeon and all I can enter. She is voiced by Joyce Kawaii. Yep. And she hasn't done many anime. Not really, no. I mean, she's done a couple of noteworthy anime. She was in Bleach. She voices Yuzu. I believe she was the blonde twin of Ichigo's twin sisters. She voices Siku, who was one of the Phantom Troop from Hunter x Hunter 2011 series. She was also go to one voice of some minor characters. And apparently she was in the recent voice for Ami from Case Closed. Interesting. Yep. Well, that's it for her. But in the case of Lizzie, there's also Lizzie Freeman. And she voices... If I can find the right thing here. Lizzie Freeman voices Emma. Yeah, Emma is the beautiful blonde in the middle. Yep, that's Emma. Yes, she is voiced by Lizzie Foreman. And she is not technically from... Now, unlike, let's say, the guy who's the lead character who's from My Hero Academia, this lady, she, of course, was also in ReZero, voicing Rizu. I believe she's a recent character this season. She was in Monster Hunter Doctor, voicing Kunai. Yeah, the woman basically who was kind of like a Frankenstein monster in this series. She's also in Seven Deadly Sins. She was in the previous season of the show named Orderly. Let's see. She was also... Yeah, I think that's it for her. Yeah, I'm looking at basically her credits. Yeah, those are the characters. There's actually one character who does technically appear here, but I'm not going to discuss her just yet because, well, she's another character actress from ReZero, but she doesn't appear in the very next episode. Now, this series is technically based upon a light novel, but this series actually up from the manga for some reason. Yes. I'm not really sure why, but they do. I'm thinking, really? Yes. From what I can tell after finish reading the very first light novel for the series itself draws pretty much like, I would say, a lot from the light novel per se. Like, in the case of these first 3 episodes, they cover pretty much like a lot of the very first light novel. Yes. Now, come on, thank you. Yes. These first 4 episodes cover pretty much the first 11 chapters of the manga that's adapted from the series. And, well, in no make for episode 3. The very first episode is simply this. Noir basically has waken up. Now, he apparently has the ability to talk to a sage as one of his abilities and get special skills boosts for him. Though apparently talking to him caused him to give himself headaches. So he basically applies to become a librarian. But his father, when he gets up, is like he's about to leave. But apparently his application has been blocked. You're probably thinking, blocked? How the heck is this possible? It's a fantasy series. Well, it's done because of a noble. They explain in the series that there's actually apparently titles like Duke and Baron. They're like levels of nobility, and apparently his family is a baronet, which apparently is a bottom of totem pole, basically just above commoner. The equivalent of basically a regular citizen. That's simple. Just though they are not exactly very wealthy per se, but they do have a little bit of money. They are basically afford a very nice looking house, or provide their kids basically the head of the household has the kids with nice clothing. And there apparently are 4 siblings. Apparently this family's got 4 kids, but only 2 are shown on the screen. That's Noir and Alice. Alice is apparently is obsessed with her big brother. I'm like, okay, this is actually one of 3 series I've seen like this, where the younger sister is basically crazy for her brother. Like, the only series I've seen this in has been Love Tyrant and Witchcraft Works. Yeah, that's a simple just of course she's the youngest sister. Of course she's a, raven-haired girl, and of course she's basically very girl-sensitive. Well, if a girl basically nears her brother, she gets sensitive. Now, Emma herself is Noir's childhood friend. And apparently it's mentioned that this particular magician, who apparently had multiple wives, the way that he solved his headaches was by giving each of his wives a kiss on the lips. Emma's like, sure, give me a kiss. And they make out. By the way, they do this like every episode, just to basically build up his LP, basically his light points. Okay. And basically he needs to go to the Hero Academy. Okay. So even though she got into the librarian thing, he couldn't. So try for the hero exam. Okay. So also in case of Olivia herself, he just randomly found her basically looking into a dungeon, and she becomes his master. She apparently has been trapped in this dungeon for 200 years. And damn, she looks great for a woman who's basically been trapped for 200 years. She looks like a woman, presumably, I'd say probably in her early to mid-20s, I'd say. And she gives lots of advice. And apparently, she only speaks telepathically, because she looks like she's sleeping a lot of the time. And in case you're curious, though, she does the same thing in the manga, too. And she also is, like, yelling, too. Yep. So he tries out for the hero exam. So he's teamed up with Emma and like one nurse dude who, by the way, does become part of the class later on. They part of, and they need to go look for raw materials. Now, in case you're curious, though, did this happen both in light novel and in the manga? Yes, yes, it did. So what does he do? Fights a Grim Reaper. Yep, and beats it with a stone bullet, a big, humongous one, basically about this wide. Yes. Yep, and then he kills it and takes the skull, and has one of the higher ranking, the other woman with him, says, why don't you take credit basically for this, because he says the reason, and she actually believes him. No one would actually believe someone of his stature, or at least someone of his rank, would actually get this damn thing. And like, oh yeah, it's not much. 128,000 points when they won this little contest, and they would get in no problem. But they had to pay this $300,000 fine in order to get in. Okay, so he figures out become an adventurer, raise the money, and he gets in after accomplishing 2 quests. You're thinking, really? Yeah, he does. So he goes on a quest to gather grasshoppers, and Emma decides to tag along. Now, I should point out, though, in the manga, per se, when he signs up for this guild, when he goes on the mission, she actually successfully hits him in the face. In the manga, she does hit him. Also, episode 2 is the introduction to the guild girl of the series, Lula, voiced by Annie Yacho, who's got a thing for, well, the main character, obviously. Yep. Let's see. Well, aside from working on this series, series I've seen. I know she looks like she's in Jujutsu Kaisen. I haven't watched Jujutsu Kaisen yet, so I'm not really familiar with the character she actually voices. Of the ones I've seen, well, aside from this series, nothing. Basically, she's kind of an unknown to me, because she hasn't done that much work at all. I mean, she's only been working for, probably not very long. I'd say since, like, let's see, her first work came out in, came out in 2007. Yeah, she's done very little since then. Yep. Now, with this woman, she's constantly, like googling eyes at him, and it's like, if you can't, like, basically, like, he mentions that apparently the guild he joined, the Odin Guild, was also the guild that Olivia was part of. He mentioned, Master's part of this guild? And she said, Master, you must be her successor. And touch his book, and, like, if you prove, I will lift up my skirt and proclaim my love for you. And he does, and he proves it, no problem. And then he's like, pay up. And then she proceeds to lift up her skirt and proclaim, yes, I love you, Lord Noir. Yeah, she does this in the manga too, so there's that. So then she basically signs up, no problem, goes to the mission, comes back, and then another mission would deal with a rabbit. Now, the first mission apparently got 250,000. I'm like, damn, that's most of his goal already. Good job in just the first mission. So, second mission, go deal with our giant rabbit, which this scene is basically like a cheap rip. It's basically, I don't know if it's a homage, or it's like inspired by Konosuba, where you have these two basically being chased by a giant rabbit. So basically, before I continue, this is one funny scene that basically one of his abilities is basically altering sizes. Like, he apparently took the time to use his editor. Yes, he has an editor skill. We can edit stuff. I'm like, well, what was he, a fourth law breaker? Not really, no. And what does he do? He edits the size of Emma's breast to make her flat and then basically bigger. And he mentioned, oh yeah, I'm a big breasted guy. Yeah, that's what he says. And then Brie was like, so happy the fact that she, well, restored the proper size. I mean, I like the fact it's actually the guy talking about this, because a lot of the time women just, like in anime, what's the number one topic basically women want to talk about stuff from guys? Their chest size. Yes, constantly. And like almost every anime I've come across, this generally is a regular topic. I mean, the only series I can think of basically that probably didn't bring this up was Dragon Ball Z. Which I think is quite hilarious. No coverts, and that's Monster. I just happened to have a drink from it. So, yep. And then then they battle the giant rabbit, which basically they get power boost thanks to makeout session, and of course, I think also allowing him to grow up her breast. Okay, and then they get the remaining money, and of course capturing the thing. Apparently, he has a skill set to basically put something in storage, brings on, of course, that big barbecue, and of course to get in, and then comes a hilarity episode. Oh boy, oh yeah, and they do the no morning greeting, basically just them going in the woods just to make out before they go to school, which I think is quite hilarious. So they meet their teacher, and of course they meet various people. Of course, they also introduce this new character. Her name is Luna. Yes, she's voiced by Kira Backlund. Yes, if you don't know who this woman is, she is the voice of Beatrice from ReZero. Yep, ReZero. Oh yeah, I believe she was also... Yeah, she's also in Sister Devil as Maria. She also voices Chris from Konosuba. She's Setsuna from Yoshida Princess Half Demon. She's in Demon Slayer, who was one of the moons on the main character. Zetsui from Hunter x Hunter. She's also in Sailor Moon. She's also in Blue Exorcist. Yeah, I think there's like one character here. Actually, no, she's not in here just yet. But there's a noble woman here. Her name is Maria. Yeah, she apparently... So, Noir used a peeking spell on her, where he just looks at her. Now, you're probably thinking, peeking spell? Does he basically look at her clothing? No, this is a magical spell set. And he finds out that she's got a death curse on her that will cause her to die at the age of 16. So... And of course they go to class, and then they go outside, and they meet their beautiful teacher, Edna. Like, oh boy. And by the way, this woman's 24, like, okay, I can buy the fact this woman's 24 just by looking at her. So, apparently she knows who Noir is, despite the fact no one cared to even know the guy's name because he's of lower rank of nobility. Oh yeah, one guy basically wanted to introduce himself, but once he saw the symbol, he was like, I'm sorry, my glasses will fog it up. I'm like, really? That's kind of stupid. Like, and apparently Maria introduced herself to him, and everyone's like shocked, like, how the heck do you know her? Which even I basically am like, how? It's like, if you watch the anime, like, they had they had just one brief glance at each other, and apparently she found out basically his name. Probably because she's a daughter of a duke. Yeah, she's daughter of a duke. Oh yeah, by the way, her curse is a symbol of a clock staff basically impaled through her back. Yep. So they have the class, and oh boy, yes, this is from the light novel too. And the manga. So, he has a brief battle with basically his teacher, which also involves him basically getting hit in the stomach with a wooden sword. And basically, now here's the thing, in the manga I refer to it as a dodge. Basically, and both in the light novel and the anime, it's referred to as a backstep, what he does. If you can perform this one thing, I will give you a reward. And he does it, just by sheer coincidence. And what's his reward? Having her sit on his stomach and rub her butt against his stomach. And then, the dialogue is very similar, though there's no mention basically about her or rear end being heavy. So now this is something that's completely unoriginal. What does she do after he says her butt is heavy? She proceeds to sit on his face for about 2 seconds, and then the guys afterwards, even the mom. I'm glad the fact they cut the includes in the light in the anime, because this has been kind of disgusting. Like, the guy's asking, "What does her butt smell like?" I'm like, "What? Why the heck would any guy would even want to know that?" Yeah, that sounds absolutely disgusting. But the scene itself is quite hilarious. So then he proceeds to find out when he talks to the adventure girl and finds a way to remove the curse, like talking exorcist. Okay, so to talk to this particular exorcist. Okay, so then he goes see Edna, gives her a shoulder rub, and he says, "If I'll do this for you," like he also says that she can also sit on him again. And the way that it's done in the anime, a shoulder rub is done look like it's very erotic, and she's getting off on getting her shoulders rubbed. And she's like blushing, and then we go to the outside where it's like meeting in progress, do not disturb. I'm surprised you have various guys light up to the door wondering what the heck is going on. And then the episode ends. Basically, we have Noir and Emma meet up with the guild girl. I keep forgetting the woman's name. Her name is Lola. Yes, Lola. Yeah, Luna basically is a character baby's next episode, so don't worry about that. And apparently she has trouble with actual like item the curses that Maria has, so they have trouble basically going to lift that, and they're going to talk to her next episode. I gotta say, really good episode, really good episodes, and I'm definitely looking forward to reviewing the rest. Oh, by the way, basically after this, a sit down thing, like we have basically most same dialogue, basically both in the light novel and the anime, but different slight light dialogue in the light novel. When we do the next class of the pairing up, now apparently Ina says that Noir and Emma can't team up because they think that they're dating. That was a line from the light novel they got from the anime. In the manga translation I read, she thought they were lovers. And like, nope. And she's like, not yet. So, team with Maria. And then she pretty much proceeds to do a judo flip on him. Yes, a judo flip. And Shoulder Breath basically calls off. Yep. But yeah, it's something interesting though that apparently, despite the fact the anime draws a lot based on the actual manga, apparently they draw a lot of the dialogue from the actual light novel that these episodes based on, which is mostly put the very first light novel. Yes, by the way, the shoulder rub thing, that actually comes toward the end of the light novel, which I'm like, okay, I get the reason why, because it's something quite funny to see here. And mostly put, from what I can tell from the anime to light novel, they pretty much keep a lot of the stuff presented in order. I'd say by episode, now the book itself has got roughly, I think it's like about over 20, I think it's like 24 chapters. But thinking 24 chapters must be a real long book. Not really, no. It's only about 223 20 pages. And I just finished it today, and it's a really good book. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm thoroughly enjoying watching the anime and reading the light novel. Now, I don't know if in fact that the remaining episodes, that I'm sure the remaining episodes probably that from book 1 per se, but in the case of like in that book 2, I'm not sure yet. Yep. But yeah, that's a particular review. Stay tuned for my next episode where I will be discussing the very next episode. Yes. Basically, for the next episode of this series, episode 4 through 6, and then the third and last one I'll do for now until Friday. Yes, the thing airs on Friday for the English dub, where I will discuss episode 7. Well, basically, episode 3 was episode 7, and starting with episode number 4, basically semi-regular basis for about 5 weeks before the season ends. Yep, this video. Bye.